Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Oh, hello. Charles here. You may not recognize me, but then again, I always revolve around in the shadows. You see, I've served many masters, many mistresses, and no one seemed to have ever noticed me. But I am full of several remarkable talents, such as particularly making tea. And I can make any particular tea that you like. I can make Earl Grey, iced tea, green tea, although one of my most esteemed specialities is one of a concoction that I make myself. You see, I like to play a little game with those that I work for. And some make it out alive, while others, let's just say, linger longer than others. But, after all, what must a servant do in trying to entertain the higher-ups? And you do also get bored, and I must say, being ignored all the time is quite trying. So, I like to have a little bit of fun. And who knows, perhaps I'll have you over for tea. And maybe you too can try one of my special concoctions. So what do you say? Would you care to join me for tea? If so, I'll see you shortly. And don't forget to ring. I'll be there post-haste.
Sound familiar to you? Didn't to me neither, but this is the story of Maybe It's Poison, a new game on Kickstarter, and tonight we're lucky enough to have on Bryan Butters from Board Brothers, one of the creators and masterminds behind that. Is that correct, Bryan?
That's right, yeah. It's one of our new games we just barely launched.
Cool beans, cool beans. So let's see here. Let's go back to the beginning first off before we get into that. So how did you get into board gaming, Bryan?
It's kind of a fun story. My brother and I, we actually raised in a family where gaming was a huge part, and still is a very huge part of our family, and we kind of started to talk back and forth recently, just about 2 years ago, that we were saying, hey, wouldn't it be kind of cool if one of these types of games is out on the market? And then we started to talk about it more seriously, and we're thinking, well, I mean, let's make it. And since then, we've developed a fast-paced digital card game called Switch. Our next one that's coming out on the market right now, as you said, is live on Kickstarter, called Maybe It's Poison. And we've got a board game in the works and a few other things that we're working on.
Wow, sounds like you're busy. Let's see here. So you said something called Switch. And just before I forget, I don't know if I did or not. I have a really bad memory. Thanks for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it. So Switch, what's that all about?
Switch is a fast-paced digital card game for 2 to 6 players where players compete simultaneously to get rid of the cards first, where rounds are as quick as 30 seconds. It's a very fast-paced game that just brings you into the excitement.
Cool. Is that available on retail and everything?
Yeah, you can actually just hit us up on Facebook. We're carried in 3 states right now, Utah, Michigan, and Missouri, and we're branching out, trying to broaden our horizons there. Our focus has been kind of on Kickstarter right now to get our next game on the market before we do a major push to retailers. Typically, they like to see developers have 2 or 3 games under their belt before they start doing initial contracting and things like that, and that's what we're trying to get to right now.
Cool, cool beans. So those three states you said, Missouri, Utah, and where else again?
Michigan.
Michigan, cool. So are you in game stores in those states then? Is that correct?
Yeah, hobby shops and a few game stores. The biggest one in Utah is Red Balloon Toy Store. They've been an awesome partner for us, and they've got 4 stores across the Wasatch Front.
Cool, cool beans. I don't remember that one when I was there. Whereabouts are they located?
They're in Logan, Sandy, Salt Lake, and Provo is their 4 cities that they're currently have stores.
Cool. Yeah, that shows you how much I just barely got into the hobby a little bit ago, and so yeah, I don't
Nice.
even know that. Okay, great. So yeah, word is on the street that you have a new Kickstarter game. What can you tell us about it, Brian?
So maybe it's poison is a fun project. In the beginning, you kind of heard a little bit of a character. The whole story behind it is that there's a butler who is up to mischievous things and has created a tea time party for all of the high society members. There's several poisonous teacups on the table, and only one of them is the actual good tea. And it's basically a manipulation of the cups where players have to check them privately and memorize where the cups are on the table in order to find the good tea. But the catch is, every turn, a character or a player has a chance to play an action card, and it rotates those cups. So you're constantly shuffling the cups by swapping their positions, swapping seats with the players, and it can get very confusing very quickly on what cups you actually looked at, and so you have to try and memorize the multiple cups, trying to keep yourself alive while poisoning all of your friends.
Oh boy, oh boy. So only one person wins?
That's correct.
Cool, cool. Well, so where does the inspiration come from this game?
Mostly, I love the idea of being able to manipulate board game pieces. I wanted to start designing a few options like tile-based games or something that's a little bit more non-traditional and less stagnant. We have a lot of fun with typical board games and stuff, but we've seen in the market that there's been a real evolution in non-traditional gaming, and it's inspired a lot of really cool concept where 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't even. I mean, it's just absolutely exploded over the last several years, and there has been a lot of really cool content. We wanted to join the market.
Cool, might as well. That's great. So let's see here. So, if I know we're in a podcast and whatnot, so it wouldn't be how would the play look, but how would the play sound if me and you sat down to play this game? Well, I guess we'd have to have one more, isn't it? Like 3 to 6 or something.
Yeah, 3 to 6 players.
So
Yeah.
if we had an extra player, maybe the other creator, your brother, is it?
Uh-huh.
So let's say we three sat down to play. How would that sound?
Basically, we shuffle out all of the cards and we'd be placing them down. And the first move, I would check any cup on the table, so I could go ahead and check one of the cups, memorize it, place it down, and at that point I can use an action card to try and manipulate the cups. And say I wanted to swap all the cups clockwise, so I'd play the cup and all of us would shuffle and swap the cups clockwise, and then it would be your turn if you're immediately to my left.
Oh, okay, and then that just goes on until a certain point. Do you have to take a card that says go ahead and drink, or how's that work?
The way it works is it actually can be called after we've had one full round where anybody at the table on their turn can call cheers. There's a few different things that you can do. You can check a cup and then play a card. You can play a card, or you can play a card and say cheers or just cheers. Essentially what you have to remember is if you check a cup, you're giving up the right to say cheers. That's really the basic tonality behind it. And when I say cheers, that basically means you are electing to drink the cups. And you only want to say that when you have the teacup in front of you. If you are trying to scoot it in front of you, you obviously don't want to say cheers because you've probably figured it out that you've got the poison cups in front of you and you want to get rid of them.
Okay, cool. Cool beans. So during playtesting, was there ever anything that you had to scrap that just wouldn't work?
Oh, sure. Yeah, originally when we came out with the game, we only just recently introduced the actions about 8 months ago during the playtesting of the game. Originally, we had check cup cards and we had cheers cards, so they were strictly based off of the cards themselves, and we completely didn't even approach the idea of being able to say actions until much later. We found that the balancing in order to be able to do that was way too skewed. It was so much more luck-based. There were times in the game where you had to say cheers at the beginning of your turn only. You couldn't play a card afterwards, and then that made the game very linear. So there's been about 2 years of playtesting with this game that we've been trying to kind of crease out all of the kinks that it's had.
Cool beans. So let's talk about. That's awesome that you've been doing it for so long. So you've gotten all the kinks out, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're really excited too that if it actually hits its stretch goal, there's an expansion pack that we really want to offer all of our backers, and it introduces the elimination version of the game. So what we're offering as the base game right now is the core concept where many sit down to tea and only one leaves alive. The expansion pack, however, is a different variant where the poisonous cups have certain levels of toxicity. Your hand has health. There's abilities where instead of everybody drinks, you have to pick up your own cup and clink it with the other player that you want to drink with. So not only do you have to memorize the good tea, you have to memorize where the poison tea is, and you got to manipulate the cups in that position to make sure you're trying to eliminate it. And the coolest part about that is you sometimes have, with a larger party, upwards to 16 cups that you have to memorize and keep track of, and it makes the game that much more strategic and fun to play.
So the plot thickens. That sounds really cool too.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty exciting. I like that aspect of it too. That sounds really cool. So let's see here. So, yeah, that's really cool. So why tea?
YT?
Yes, sir.
I love the whole thematic thing. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but we have I don't know. I've been a big fan of murder mysteries and that type of genre. And did the Butler do it, or was it somebody else? A huge fan of the movie Clue. And when we went down to actually design the game and come up with theming, for some reason I just pictured a tea party, which is what the game was actually called originally. We called it Tea Party, and we found that the name was too generic. It just wasn't marketable enough for us, so we wanted to jazz it up with a different type of name that would have more intrigue, and that's where we eventually came to maybe it's poison. But for some reason, tea has always just been prominent in my mind. It was just something that we could resonate well with the idea of a party. It's a party game, and the theming just kind of worked, and we've stuck with it since.
Cool. Yeah, I really like it. That's cool. I've always liked Clue, the game Clue. Back in the late '90s or whatnot. I don't know. Remember what the exact name of it is, but me and my cousin played a game. It was a Clue game where somebody was trying to steal an art project out of the museum. It was pretty fun.
Oh, cool. Okay. So kind of like a heist?
Yeah, it was a heist. It was a Clue heist. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, and is there places where people can see? I want to say the Unfiltered Gamer. Did they play it, or they just shouted out this game, or?
Yeah, Unfiltered Gamer, they gave us a shout out. They approached us for an interview, and we're still trying to work out a few connections with several of our friends. We've got two Geeks, one Mike that are going to be having a chat with us. We're chatting with you guys tonight, which I really appreciate. And we are in the works with Shawn Barrows and Joni Brosis and a few other cosplayers that are actually going to be playing our game in a live video we've got scheduled for hopefully October 11th. We don't have everything quite set in stone yet, but I'll be talking with him tomorrow about that.
Cool beans. And if anybody's, I'm not sure exactly when this will air, hopefully pretty soon here. If somebody was driving and whatnot and they want to back this game, of course they'll pull over to the side of the road and click the link. We'll leave it on the show notes. But when does this go till?
This goes till October 21st, so we still have about 3 weeks left.
Okay, cool beans. So you still have enough time. That's great. And I saw somewhere about, or maybe it's on the video, where you guys want to get the most, the highest stretch goal.
Yeah, the most back card game on Kickstarter. Such an ambitious goal. And it was really mostly something that we wanted to generate chatter about. Obviously, it's a very $8.7 million is a very high dollar amount. We don't expect to hit that at all. We would be ecstatic if we hit our 25K so we could actually fulfill the game and bring it to market. But we wanted to have a fun character who we knew was going to die, so we were just going to have fun with them. And I played the character, so if anybody's curious what my face looks like, just watch the video. The dude in the video, that's me.
Well, there you go. We'll make sure we leave that all in the show notes. Cool beans. And let's see here. Yeah, so the tea game, maybe it's poison. That looks like a great game. Yeah, I hope we'll have to leave show notes in all there about the different playthroughs and where you're going to be podcasting and whatnot. So that's cool. Yeah. Now mine is coming to Utah, where I guess it's snowing now. Is that correct?
Well, yes, kind of. I mean, we've had a lot of rains going on, but up in the ski resorts, we've been hitting a lot of snow. It hasn't quite hit the valley just yet, but up in the mountains, there's been a lot of snow.
Oh wow, scary. I can't say that I miss the snow. But yeah, mine is coming there to the snow to stalk you. How would people go about finding you and your brother and your cool games?
If you want to get a hold of us, we're native to northern Utah, or at least I am. My brother and my business partner, he lives in St. Louis, Missouri. It was fortunate enough for him to be able to come out to Comic-Con, so it was really cool to get to see him. My sister-in-law and his family. We weren't able to spend as much time as we would have liked. It was really, unfortunately, all business at Comic-Con, but if anybody's in Utah and you want to check us out, we do conventions almost monthly, really, and especially coming into the holiday seasons, we've been partnering up with a Finders Fair, and we've been partnering up with a few other select Christmas box shows and things like that here in Utah. So the best way that you can find us is go to facebook.com/boardbrothers, spelled Bored. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, and you'll be able to check out all the cool stuff that we do on a regular basis.
Cool, and I'll make sure I'll leave that all in the show notes. So I imagine that's how you got into the game stores there in Utah and also Missouri. But what about Michigan?
Family in Michigan.
There you go.
Yeah,
So you got to just spread your family out.
took a vacation out there. That's right. Yeah, my wife's family lives out in Michigan, and we took a family trip to see everybody out there. It's a beautiful place, wonderful people. We had a great time.
Cool, cool beans. So per se, somebody's fallen asleep on the road and they just barely woke up, so they didn't hit that oncoming semi. It'd probably be because of my voice or my podcast. They're getting tired of it. But why should they? They're up now. Why should they take a chance on Maybe It's Poison, especially with all the games out there on Kickstarter?
Well, it brings together the family, and one of the coolest things that we are very passionate about with all the games that we create, one of my biggest pet peeves is hearing whose turn is it during game night. I can't tell you how much that bothers me. And so in our concept of designing one major niche that you can get with Board Brothers Gaming that you can't get with other games is that it has mechanisms built into the game that almost punishes the player if you're not paying attention. It encourages families to interact together, your friends to interact together, and with Maybe It's Poison, it's a memory game where the cups constantly shift, and if you look down at your phone for 30 seconds and people are moving cups around and they're smart enough not to tell you what just happened, you have no clue where the cup actually went, unless you started fumbling through the discard pile, and I don't know how good they would feel about that. But the other cool thing is all of our games are manufactured in the United States. Our fulfillment is really, really quick, and being able to actually produce it, manufacture it, and bring it out to the public, our turnaround is going to be phenomenal when it comes to Kickstarter. And so as soon as we get past that end goal, 2 weeks after our Kickstarter ends, pushes us into about late October, early November. That's about when we get all of our funding, and the turnaround that we can go with Delano Manufacturing is just amazing quick, and we can contact them, make sure that their printers are open, and for our print run, they'll be able to just flush that out, and we can get distribution out really quickly to everybody.
Cool. So I know you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but when would people anticipate getting their games, do you think?
So right now we are promising March of 2018, and that's mostly because we want to be able to give ourselves a buffer for our international market, which surprisingly is a huge percentage of our Kickstarter right now. We're actually getting a lot of people overseas, which is exciting. So if anybody's listening from like the UK or Australia or Thailand or some of our other backers, thanks for backing us. But that's mostly why. And again, it's always, just like you said, it's better to under-promise and overachieve. I am fairly confident that we're going to be doing our fulfillment well before March, but there's always that unknown. We don't know what might happen when it comes to, especially the winter time when it starts hitting the U.S. on what slows down shipping and all that kind of stuff. So we just kind of want to give that little bit of a buffer for us, and we're actively hoping to get this to everybody a lot faster.
Cool. Well, that's really good. I think a lot of times the Kickstarters are mainly focused on people in the U.S. because I know shipping can be outrageous in other
Yeah.
countries and whatnot.
Yeah, we fortunately have an awesome partner. We're working with Ship Naked, and they have distribution centers all over the place. And very smart, intelligent guys who have been in close contact with us every step of the way of the Kickstarter. So every time we want to do a new tier, a new reward, we were able to chuck up bulk pricing at least 2 or 3 days after the initial quote, and we were chatting with them, which was a phenomenal quote turnaround when we're live in our project.
Cool. That's awesome. So, what kind of shipping prices are they marked into the actual pledge amounts, or what kind of shipping will people out of the country be paying?
Yeah, and it really depends on what type of tier they do, but our lowest tier with one game ships anywhere in the world for $8 shipping and $4 for the US. So it doesn't matter where you are, $8 for shipping, you get the game, and it ships to you literally wherever you are.
Cool. Does that take care of I forget what it's called, something in the UK, VAT maybe? Does that take care of that too? Do you know?
VAT fees and other type of costs, yeah, we've built that in there. What our backers actually pay is a subsidy. So my company is eating a majority of the costs so we can pass on the savings to the rest of our backers. So those prices that you see are dramatically reduced from what our quotes actually were. So we're reducing our profit margins and adding on our overhead as an additional benefit for our backers to try and make it as logistically affordable as possible for everybody. We understand that shipping can sometimes either cost at least a third or half the value of the game that you're backing, and we really wanted to try and reduce that cost to where you'd be used to, $7 or $8 regular shipping and handling. Given internationally, when it gets up to the larger copies, it's just simply not doable. Because you do see some of the tiers that are as high as like $100 shipping for 10 copies. That actual price is closer to $150 for those types of fees, and we curve it down to accommodate for that. So if you look at it, you're basically paying shipping of $10 per copy distributed out with some of your other friends, and then it reduces even further from that to where other costs could be much, much higher.
Cool beans. Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, I think like we only have about 53% of our listeners are actually in the U.S., and then we have 13. It ranges from 12 to 14% in the Ukraine. I still did you another shout out if anybody is listening in the Ukraine. We'd love to hear from you, how you found out about the show and whatnot. And then we got 2% in the UK, and then 1% in Australia and Spain, and just all over the place. So yeah, so hopefully some of them will go ahead and take a chance on this game. And if that looks like you did like you said, you did a previous Kickstarter with the what do you call it? I had some fans asking me earlier, so people who have done Kickstarters, what was your most challenging part in the last one, do you think?
Well, our first Kickstarter, it was very, very much in infancy for our company, and really the biggest challenge was trying to learn how it worked and trying to get communication out there, because even now we don't have a huge audience. I mean, we're growing, and we do more conventions where we're meeting new people and we're finding new fandom, which is amazing about the growth that we've done. But our first Kickstarter, I think we might have had maybe 30 likes on Facebook, and a majority of them were family and friends. So the biggest struggle I think any Kickstarter or anybody who wants to do a Kickstarter would find in common is your reach, your dedicated people, the folks that really want to support you are always going to launch your Kickstarter really, really healthy. And then you're going to hit this plateau. And when you hit the plateau, that's where you need to reach out to additional markets. You need to partner up with other like-minded people in the industry, like yourself, reaching out to us, wanting to do a podcast and being able to help each other grow, finding additional designers who are also struggling in the market. It's one of the coolest communities. So our biggest struggle really was trying to find an audience, and continuing to grow our audience will always be a challenge.
Cool. So you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. You want to get that, make sure you get that audience and keep it growing. So you're at that lull right now then that you talk of?
Yeah, typically Kickstarter hits that plateau. So we've got about 23% right now, and that was within our first week. So the numbers for having a second Kickstarter with not a lot of audience, it goes to show that we have some pretty solid interest in the game, and we've marketed ourselves well so far. As always, we're continually looking for additional comments or whatever we can do in order to improve that. That can either be left on our Facebook page, on this podcast. You can leave it on like our Kickstarter page itself at any time. If anybody has suggestions, we're more than open to it because we want to be able to accommodate to our audience as much as possible. And if we did something wrong, we need to know about it and try and fix it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of constructive criticism as well. I know a lot of people aren't, but it seems like these days. But yeah, I love a good constructive criticism. So you can give that to us too over at Getting Geeky with Game Relief on Facebook or GameReliefGo.com. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, I really like the concept of this. Is there any talk of actual cups or it's just the cards?
So, okay, yeah, we've had a lot of questions about it. I tell you what, I would love to have a deluxe edition where there's really high quality cups on the table that have their own unique artwork and things like that. Logistically, right now, that's a very steep challenge, and we simply don't have the partnerships in place to do that. Our manufacturer doesn't specialize in even plastic material to that point. It's mostly printed, high quality chit pieces that are punch outs, which is what we'll be using for the end game. We're actually using board game material that you may not see in our actual demo in some of the videos. But there has been talk about coasters. We might actually do a special edition where people can have coasters. But as of now, unfortunately, there's no fancy poisonous Chinese tea set. No matter how much I would love that, I think that would be really cool.
Oh boy, well it looks like just under 8.8 million funding goal. Well, the stretch goal is blocked out. Maybe you could put that in there when you get to that point.
I tell you what, if that happened, absolutely, everybody's getting a tea set.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. That'd be good. So yeah, now on to now we almost got to let you go, but just to let you know about our next section on Kickstarter. And our next section on Getting Geeky with Game Relief is called Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an application that you use, whether it be on a smartphone, a tablet, a computer, or even a video game. Is there an application you use a lot of? It doesn't have to be related to board gaming.
Oh man, yes. There's a lot of chat apps that we like to use a lot, and me and my friends, we use Dischord. And if there's a lot of gamers out there, or even just people who like to chat, Dischord is a really cool thing and a tool we use for our business. So all of you business owners out there who want to give it a listen, you can group chat with a lot of your employees or business partners on the fly. There's the Dischord app, and it's a cool desktop gamer app that you can chat with everybody on your phone, and you just plug in a headphone with a microphone. You can chat with anybody. It's really cool.
Cool. So how's that different? Is that like more like a Google Plus or like Skype, or is that kind of like Messenger? What's the difference?
It's mostly, they haven't quite piloted the video chat. I know they're in beta for video chat right now, but it's mostly text and internet chat. So you can have several people with your own dedicated server chatting with each other that has little to no drop, that you can, talk with 4, 10, or 12 people without having astronomical cell phone fees or anything like that on the app on the fly. And you can have board meetings, or you can group chat with your gamer friends, or just kind of keep a whole bunch of people chatting about something in a room. It's really cool.
Cool bean. So if you own the rights to that application, what would be one thing that you would do to make it better, Bryan?
If I own the rights
yes,
to
sir,
it?
What would you do to make it better?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, the video chat would definitely be one thing that I would love to do, but I would probably implement some type of a common document, maybe somewhat similar to Google Docs, or some way that you could do whiteboard presentations or some kind of live group assembly, which would actually be really cool for students, come to think of it. If you're able to have a platform where everybody could work on a project live with each other and being able to develop it, it would curb the need of having somebody to save it on their information at home, and then they could work together about a bunch of stuff. But anyway, what do I
Well,
know?
there you go. So if you're, I don't know, hopefully this is going to be green content. So I don't know if they're listening right now, but hopefully if you're listening, the people of Discord, you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, what Bryan would do to make your application better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissions.
There you go. Yeah, he wants he wants commissions, especially so we can get those cups going on. Maybe it's poison.
That's right.
So that'd be great. Yeah, well, once again we wanted to thank you for coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Bryan.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem at all. We really appreciate it.
Welcome to Kickstarter Corner. I'm here with Game Relief, and I'm Princess Leaf, yours truly. Today is Kickstarter Corner, yay! So we're going to talk about some games. So Dad just interviewed the creators of this game. This is Crazy Commute, a bumper-to-bumper card game for 3 to 5 players, $14 in the USA, free shipping to the USA.
Cool. And what about this game? And let's talk a little bit louder. What about this game?
A fast-paced, easy-to-learn party game for about the longest part of your day.
Yeah, it's about the commute. You're trying to get in front of the other people, and they actually made all of the different cards of the characters different creatures, like the Minotaur, the vampire, the cyborg, the zombie, and the werewolf. I thought that was cool.
The vampire sounds fun.
Yeah, a lady doing their makeup. They acted like she was a vampire. So that's cool. And then what else do we got on the Kickstarter corner?
Cheese Quest. So when you will be hearing this, it will be done.
No, it'll have a little bit left because this will be Wednesday morning. You'll probably hear this, if not before then. And it ends on
Thursday, October 12th, 2017, 6:47 a.m. Mountain Standard Time Zone, Utah.
Yeah, and so what can you tell us about this game? What is it?
It's a fun game for 10-year-olds and up. For every age. Be crafty, strategical, and fast. They'll split your time between progress and sabotage as you race to return 2 cheeses to the nest.
Did we say what it's called?
Cheese Quest, a tabletop game of taxes and sabotaging.
Yeah, so that sounds fun.
And they already reached past their goal.
Yeah, so you'll get the game for sure. And we interviewed Phil a while back ago, so you can go and listen to him and check that out. And then what else do we have, Princess Leaf?
Swords and Cells. Rewrite history in 108. Swords and Cells is an epic conquest and diplomacy.
An epic conquest and diplomacy game.
About leading your armies and fleets through
medieval Europe.
In 180.
Or 1080, however you want to look at that. And
they've pledged 10,617 out of 30,000.
And they actually made some revamps. I think they talked about changing it a little bit, where they made a Baron's reward for $49. So yeah, you get a copy for a little bit less. And it looks like a really fun game. And hopefully, if
go back them up.
Yeah, go back them on the Kickstarters. And then what else do we have on there, Princess Leaf?
Angelblood Publishing presents the tabletop RPG game we all want. After 13 years ago, Angelblood, the tabletop RPG game, is ready to unleash the masses. It is time for everybody to be a game challenger.
Yep, and they got...
Dad might interview the guy or girl.
Yeah, we already did. We already had him on the show. I think it was last Monday. It was a couple Mondays ago we had him on the show.
And in a few days it will be done.
Well, 30 few. Because they end on the 9th of November.
November 9th.
Yeah, so check them out on the Kickstarters. They got a little bit less than 4,000. Well, almost 3. Yeah, well, they're going for 5,000. So they have a little bit less than 3,000. And then also, let's see what else we have on the Kickstarters. We also have
Frontier, the card game, become the greatest outlaw that ever lived with this awesomely Western card game by collecting notoriety
and Bounty.
Yeehaw.
And they're getting close, aren't they?
Yeah, just a few more dollars away.
Well, a few $100 more. They're almost 700. Well, they're $740 away at the time of this recording. And they have about how many days left?
15.
Well, 15 days to go at the time of this recording. So about 13 or so. They end on...
Almost the last of October.
Which is when?
Tuesday, October 24th, 2017.
Yeah, so check them out on the Kickstarters. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. We didn't know anybody who was having birthdays because I know we've made a mistake about not mentioning those. So we checked before this episode. So that's pretty cool.
There are some, but we don't know them.
Yeah, we don't know them. So if you have a birthday coming up, let us know so we can shout you out on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Now time for our Patreons.
Thank you for listening. If you're still at this part, unless you fell asleep and you have to wake up before you fall down a cliff.
Yeah, don't fall down a cliff. Who are our Patreons? We want to say thanks.
If you get bored of Dad's voice.
Yeah, if you get bored of my voice, you don't want to fall off a cliff, go listen to We're Not Wizards or some of the other podcasts they have out there.
Blanks, Axel Massario, Ethan Ireland, Jennifer Longworth, and she sometimes edits our podcasts. And then Ronald Gagan, and they each pay us $1 each.
And then we also have Dane over at
everythingboardgames.com. Shout out to you who have birthdays.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, so thank you for backing us on our Patreon. And then we also wanted to tell you about a great giveaway that you can.
And the giveawaygeek.com.
Yeah, you can learn. He's got giveaways over there on the giveawaygeek.com. And then if you want to go back and try to win Trip Lock, which is a great game from Too Many Bones, well, from the creators of Too Many Bones, Chip Theory Games, go listen to Monday's episode and help us find out the name, what we're going to call our Monday role-playing game episode, in which me and my family will sit down to play Too Many Bones. Go check out the episode that we aired on Monday. Let's see here. It was a Monday. I'm trying to look. Yeah, Monday, October 9th. You'll want to listen to that, and you can find out how to go ahead and win that contest. It is a contest because it will be judged by many judges. What do you got, Princess Leaf?
We also want to thank those who are our Patreons, and you can also become one of our Patreons by signing in and giving us $2 a week.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make something where we can give you guys extra content, whatnot, by backing us, where you can have extra parts of the show. We haven't done that yet, but we'll try to see what we can do. And we'll be sending out our giveaways pretty soon here, so pay attention to that. And I think that's about it. Let's sign off without saying all the...
We also have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and we're...
called... You have to go to YouTube, Getting Geeky with Game Relief, /C Getting Geeky with Game Relief.
Actually, it's too long for them, so we made it easier. It is youtube.com /c and then /gamer with the capital G and then Leaf with the capital L. And you can find it. We'll make sure we leave all that in the show notes. Now, without telling all the other channels and whatnot, go ahead and sign us off, Princess Leaf, please.
Good night and have a good day where you're living, if it's morning, afternoon, or day.
And we'll catch you on the
flip side and the scootering.
There you go. Have a good one from Getting Geeky with Game Relief and
Princess Leaf.
Peace.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.